Orgasmic enlightenment, where the sexual and spiritual come together. I'm Kim Anami, and I'm a holistic sex and relationship coach and a vaginal weightlifter. In this show, we explore all things intimate. I believe that our sexual energy is life force, creative energy, and we can use it to shape our worlds, strengthen our relationships, and self-actualize. I blend the most avant-garde information from neuroscience, ancient sexual practices like Tantra and Taoism, to renegade wellness modalities to show you how to create gourmet sex in your lives. Come one, come all. Things I put in my vagina. Kim's favorite organic sex toys. A primer on orgasmic and organic sexual accoutrements. Organic sex toys, you ask? Does that even exist? There definitely are #things I would put into my vagina and things I would not. The whole Anami philosophy is about cultivating the highest quality experiences and using the healthiest and most holistic products in our intimate lives. I created the Anami Alchemia online shop so that we could feature exactly that. Erotic accessories you could trust to be an extension of the Anami way of life. Beautiful, functional, impeccable quality and nourishment for your body and spirit and your genitals. So let's talk about clean, organic, and body-friendly erotic accessories to uplevel your orgasmic enlightenment. First off, let's begin with dildos. One of the best ways to explore your orgasmic potential, especially if you are single, is with an armada of curated phalluses to play with. Because one of my main tenets is that all the good stuff is in the vagina, we're not talking about vibrators or other clitoral stimulation. We're heading straight into the promised land of the vagina, to mainline ecstasy. So when it comes to materials, with any dildo, the materials that we use are of paramount importance. Many dildos on the market are made out of a cheap, toxic plastic that leaches noxious and carcinogenic chemicals into the vagina called phthalates. And there is no regulation on the kinds of materials that are used in sex toys. And even when you import them into some countries, or some companies do, they are labeled as novelty items to bypass obscenity regulations, and so there's even less scrutiny on what they contain. Instead of being examined as objects that may or may not be safe to be inserted into the body, there is zero regulatory oversight. I remember using one of those jelly dildos, those really squishy ones, and they stink. That's often a sign that it's a leaching plastic. And afterward, feeling this intense burning in my vagina. And at first I thought, I guess I just went extra hard this time. And then the next day I did it again, had the same experience, tried it again, thinking that, okay, I think it's actually something in the material, and then put a condom on it, and I still felt the burning. And so somehow these noxious substances were even leaching through the condom. This is brutal. So the only materials that are body safe to use are glass, crystal, silicone, and theoretically wood, although it would have to be treated with something stable so that it's not porous any longer, and then whatever it's treated with would have to be something that doesn't also leach into the body. My favorite materials to use are glass and crystal. When it came time that I created my own Holy Trinity line of couture dildos, I first looked at making them out of crystals. I mean, who wouldn't, right? But the problem with crystals is that the kind that you'd want and are safe to be used in your vagina and that can actually be carved into shapes aren't crystals that are metaphysically good for sexual issues. They're not bad. It's just that they're not designed for addressing that. For example, the most common crystal that you see used in dildos is rose quartz. And while it's great for the idea of love and heart opening and forgiveness, which are all wonderful things, they aren't specific to sex, and I wanted to find things that were. So the best crystals for addressing sexual issues are crocite, garnet, carnelian, and rhodochrosite. A few years ago, I set out to make elixirs out of these crystals to sell them in the Anami Alchemia shop. Ingesting the liquid essence of the crystal is meant to be even more powerful than just having the crystal in your space. And in my research, I also found that you can use this liquid essence to temporarily change the energy expression of an object and make it into that particular crystal for 7 days. And this seemed like the ultimate solution. The elixirs can be applied to a dildo to create any version, crystal version of it that you'd like. And so I chose glass as the base material for 2 reasons. One, with hand-blown glass, you can create whatever shapes you want down to the millimeter of curvature. And you have complete freedom with color and design. I love Venetian glass. I am obsessed with chandelier things and colorful, beautiful glass pieces. And so I wanted to have them made in that traditional hand-blown Venetian glass style. So I personally spent weeks in glass blowing studios learning the methods, not how to do it myself, but so that I could, I leave that to the master glass blowers, but so that I would understand how we could achieve exactly what I wanted down to the exact shade of color and millimeter of curvature and shape that I wanted. So we did countless tests, and I did plenty of testing on myself to create models that would be the absolute best for achieving vaginal orgasms. And voila, we now have the Holy Trinity. The other thing I saw in crystal dildos is that they were all straight cut, straight lines, and that's because they are machine assembly line produced. The vagina isn't straight, it has curves, especially to access the G-spot, and you need a much more pronounced curve to reach it. Either the crook of your fingers as they're bent and doing that infamous come hither motion, or a C curve in a dildo. So we have Akasha, our G-spot dildo, which features the notorious G-spot curvature, along with a bulbous top so that it really fills in and stimulates the whole G zone area. I prefer to call it the G zone because it's really not just a spot, it's more of an area. And then I made 2 for the cervix. Anahata, which is our cervix toy number 1, and Siva, which is cervix toy number 2. And the whole trinity is meant to be used in tandem and sequentially. In Taoist sexual philosophy, we talk about the 3 gates of female orgasm. Gate number 1 is the clitoris, gate number 2 is the G-spot, and gate number 3 is the cervix. You progressively open them and the woman starting with the lower gates, and then each of these helps to prepare her for the much deeper and cataclysmic opening of the cervix, which is the gateway to the spiritual worlds. You start with your G-spot to warm up the vagina, and then you move on to our cervix number 1 dildo with its glorious length to ensure that you reach the cervix and can stimulate it easily. And once you feel opened up there, then you progress onto cervix number 2 called Siva, or what we affectionately refer to around here as the finisher. Siva is famous for her girth. She fills you up in a way that few can, and she brings it all home. Another great quality of glass is that you can play with temperature by heating it up or cooling it down. I happen to be a Goldilocks fucker. I like it just right, not too hot, not too cold, but the option is there if you like it. So more on this idea of changing your dildo into a crystal. First off, I'll talk a little bit about crystal healing because this is a tool that we use in Anami land as another important escalator for overall sexual healing and growth. And as I mentioned, you can anoint your dildos and your yoni eggs with them. And we also feature the crystal elixirs in our body oils. I have an Anami Aphrodisia line of sensual massage oils. And I first became interested in vibrational healing nearly 30 years ago when I had a treatment using vibrational medicine. And then I had a massive healing experience from it. Like the next day, I was knocked onto the floor for several days. I remember I was staying out in the tropics at a family member's place, and they were away for the weekend, and it was just me. And I remember being pummeled onto the ground, and there being this bowl of passion fruits across the room. And I was just like, okay, if I can only crawl across the room to get to these passion fruits. And I think I couldn't even do it for a day. I was so knocked out. So in detox world, we call this a Herx reaction. It's when you have a really massive detox response where everything comes out at once. And the good thing about that is that you get it all out of a lot of it out of your system, and then afterwards you feel really cleansed and reborn. But some people would prefer to detoxify at a more gentle pace so that they don't have that dramatic reaction. And so I'm really glad I did, because I feel like I cleared years and years of stuff from that. And then really that showed me from that experience onward the power of vibrational medicine. So we're talking about homeopathy and other ways of vibrational healing, even the idea of crystal energy and this method of infusing the energy of one substance or thought even, this is the realm of thoughts or things as well. The work of Dr. Emoto, right, has lately emerged and shown people how water takes on energy and intention, because science, right? This is now provable facts in action. And the wonderful Nikola Tesla has said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So there you have it. So crocite is one of the crystals I mentioned earlier, and this is meant to be the most sexual crystal on earth. One that I bet many of you haven't even heard of until now, and neither had I until I began researching all these things. We have photos of all of these on the Anami Alchemia website under crystal elixirs, and I will put some of these into the transcript of this episode, which you can find at kimanami.com. So crocite is this stunning, vibrant orange, has like these stick-like formations on it, and it grows primarily in Tasmania. And so I flew to Australia to meet with the owner of a mine and buy pieces of it to use in my crystal elixirs. And it's really, really epic and unusual. And this crystal helps to bring out your very primal, animalistic, sexual expression and passion in bed and in life. It's all about passion. And it's meant also to assist in the shifting and healing of all manner of reproductive disorders. Garnet and carnelian are thought to increase your sexual appetite, fertility, and your creative mojo. And rhodochrosite, which is meant to be the healer of sexual abuse, and it also builds confidence and self-love. I use some other crystals in my remedies that are adjuncts in healing. For example, dioptase, which is meant to be the most rapid healing mechanism for shifting a broken heart. But these are the main ones that I use. And 3 of these comprise our bodacious elixir trinity, and then rhodochrosite is in our deep healer series for both men and women, luscious for women and resurrect for men. So the best of both worlds is to ingest these elixirs and then use drops of your elixir onto your dildo or your jade egg to change that to the particular crystal for 7 days. And then it reverts back to its original form, which you can keep using, or you can douse it again and change it into another crystal if you like. I advise the Trinity for all the single ladies, and they are also wonderful exploration pieces to use with a partner. And at this point, I'm talking about the dildos, and because it's like all you need, all the lingam you could possibly need in this Trinity. And because the shapes are so precise for finding and pleasuring the G-spot and the cervix, they can also help a couple to discover these bliss zones. The second most important tool that I have in my boudoir kit would be a jade egg. Lube is not a girl's best friend. The jade egg is. And if you use a jade egg, you will eliminate your need for lube anyway. So, 2 birds, 1 egg. Most all women have numb vaginas. Why? Because they are discouraged from using, exercising, or receiving pleasure in them. And so they atrophy, they get weak, they go numb, and the vagina becomes the symbolic and literal repository of suppressed emotions, traumatic experiences, and unresolved conflicts around all things sexual. All of this stuff is lodged energetically into the vagina and the reproductive organs. And all of these things then begin to manifest as physical symptoms. The jade egg, at least the way that I teach it, works multi-dimensionally to reconnect a woman to her power source, her vagina. Physically, it strengthens the pelvic floor and vaginal muscles so they can do what they are meant to do, create a hammock to hold the internal organs. The physical exercise wakes up these muscles, gets the circulation and blood flow going, which is the key to natural lubrication. Even though you may not think of the jade egg as a typical sex toy, it's actually perfect foreplay for your vagina and your psyche, especially for a woman who has endured any kind of abuse and has residual paralysis, pain, fear, anxiety. Although I have other suggestions for healing sexual trauma, using the egg is a very gentle and loving way to bridge the gap of dissociation and being penetrated. Even for women who don't have this history, it does the same job in terms of opening you, reinvigorating the vaginal muscles and tissues, and bringing them back to life. You increase your capacity for ecstasy and sensation. You get much more fine sensation where, like I said before, most women are numb in their vaginas. They can kind of take it or leave it when it comes to penetration and sex. Because they're numb, what can you feel if you're numb? So it brings a huge amount of sensation back. And then all of that transfers into your capacity for pleasure in bed and in life. In, again, my work with the jade egg, I teach you on an energetic level as well, using guided visualizations as well as MP3 physical routines to reconnect you so that you truly own that super pussy. When women use the jade egg to do their vaginal exercises, they are often so aroused that they progress into vaginal orgasms. Always ascending. I have a DIY yoni egg kit and salonette that you can purchase in the Anami Alchemia online shop at any time. And my legendary vaginal kung fu live salon runs once a year in late January, early February. The third most important tool in the Anami Boudoir kit would be body oils. A staple in the Anami lifestyle is the idea of self-love and achieving that through self-massage. By touching, honoring, and adoring the parts of us, especially the physical body parts that we have rejected or that we project negativity onto, we reintegrate them into us. Our bodies and our reproductive organs especially become what they were always meant to be: beacons and channels of light, creativity, pleasure, and power. Your genitals are your movers and shakers. They are the channels for your life force energy. And the fact that so many people, especially women, are routinely encouraged and allow their reproductive organs to be removed shows us how cut off they are from them to begin with. And this is all indicative of the level of separation people have from their own bodies and sexual selves. I talk about yoni massage, lingam massage, breast massage, testicle massage, and overall sensual body massage, as all of these things are tools to enliven, awaken, denumb, and bring these parts back to life. In my YouTube videos, I give routines for all of these different types of massage, and in my salons, I show you more in-depth techniques and step-by-step how-to guides. In the Anami Alchemia online shop, we have a breast oil, a yoni massage oil, and a couples sensual massage oil. For guys, I would suggest using the couples massage oil as a lingam oil for the cock and for self-pleasuring overall. All of these oils are made with 100% organic ingredients, and the breast and yoni oils also contain crystal elixirs. I use the breast and yoni oils daily because I love to give myself love every day, because also the breast oil has hyaluronic acid in it. I use it as a facial oil, so I'm using all my own products all the time. I use that aphrodisiac blend sensual massage oil, the couples one, for any kind of overall body massage, and I always take it with me when I go to get a massage in a spa or a practitioner, and I make them use it. I also use it as a hair oil treatment, and it is a lovely anal lubricant, let me tell you. And I'm stressing the word anal because remember, vaginas don't need lube, they self-lubricate. For more on that, if that concept is new to you in my work, you can check out my podcast episode, A Tsunami of Lubrication. And by the way, these tsunamis are often produced by women who are supposedly not able to have them because they have hormonal things, or they just had a baby, or they're in some kind of menopause situation. Nah, we don't do that kind of excuse stuff around here. Everybody can. That's the Anami guarantee. Massage is a fantastic tool for self-love, exploration, reconnaissance, and reawakening, and also as foreplay. I am big on the idea of not only you spending plenty of time massaging and getting to know your own genitals, but also spending amazingly large chunks of time of your sex dates massaging and loving up your partner's genitals too. Since your genitals are your power sources, your life force, and your fuel, we want to ensure that they are firing on all cylinders. One of the most epic experiences of my life, my original 6-day sex date that became the blueprint for my orgasmic enlightenment retreats, was comprised of hours and days of massage. Full body, chest, breast, inner thighs, perineum, buttocks, labia, testicles, and more. We just massaged each other like crazy. And what we did was to open up all these energy channels and dissolve all kinds of whatever it felt like ancient blocks, so that all of this super potent, high quality sexual energy we were cultivating could travel and flow throughout our bodies. I have never felt so high, so blissed out, so well fucked, and so utterly myself in my entire life. All the power is in your hands and in your genitals. So these are my top recommendations for sexual accessories: the Holy Trinity Couture Dildo Set, all the lingam you will ever need; the Jade Egg Yoni Kit as your healer and vaginal awakener; and body massage oils. Our Anami Alchemia oils are the best. We've got the Yoni oil, the breast oil, and the overall couples massage oil. And you can find all of these items in the Anami Alchemia online shop. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, subscribe and also leave a review. And send someone else the gift of a healthy libido and an off-the-charts love life by sharing this episode with them. We'll be back next week, and in the meantime, many happy orgasms.